From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible news about your money and the conclusion of the earnings season. What did we learn and what are we learning today as a few more companies report? But the major story that's happened this morning is that data out of England that signals that inflation could be going through the roof next year. Well, how does our inflation go to 2% if England is going to a whopping 18% by next year? I'll have the breaking news, and you know what impacts you, your benefits. Yes, we'll go over the latest details on how this breaking news impacts your benefits and what you need to know. Plus, the other developing story today is that Jackson Hole conference from Jay Powell. He's going to be speaking in less than a few days, and that will give us guidance on where inflation's going across the board. The other major developing details is a person in the Biden administration today and last night spoke about those 7 new categories of stimulus. I'll have the latest details across the board on the big comments by your energy secretary about the big payouts for items that have become a law by act of Congress. The huge money in today's recording heating up from the shores of Santa Monica, California. And these 7 new categories of checks are in addition to those 4 stimulus checks that have been in every U.S. state, and I want to show you how to get them. Go on to this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. And over this broadcast, we'll go over the now 10 categories of stimulus checks. 10 categories. And it's not checks, it's categories of checks. Upwards of 100 to 200 checks across the board. The toast is toasted, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing, and the broadcasting family is expanding. With 2 new channels joining this family overnight, LA2 and LA3. If you missed the breaking news overnight, I have a preview of them in the second half of this incredible recording. It's a big morning, and we got a lot of details to go over, including gasoline and accordingly, and of course, the missing bacon. The latest details you need to know from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Start right now for an August 22nd, 2022. It's Mornings. And good morning, everybody. It's August 22nd, 2022 from the shores of Santa Monica, California, and a lifetime stimulus is heating up today. And of course, those 7 new categories of stimulus checks that are actually the subject of your energy secretary appearing on broadcast news. She confirmed the latest details. We'll go over that at earnings recession as the earnings season is nearly complete, but we have a series of other data that came in from 3 or 4 more companies. We'll go over what to expect this week. Friday's the big day because why? Jay Powell speaks. We'll have the preview of what his comments will be. Plus, we'll be looking at that range of your benefits and that data that came in from England. Oh, boy. And we're going to start with, of course, that major story today on an August 22nd, 2022 broadcast from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Good morning. It's Mornings. How are you? Hope you have a beautiful day. It warmed up yesterday. I don't know what happened. It had gotten much cooler on Friday and Saturday. I think I jinxed it. I said, the summer's gone. And then on Sunday, the summer came back. So, I'm just hoping it stays away, for the rest of the weekend and year. Here we go. The breaking news stories are abundant this morning, but I'm going to start with that major story out of England. The major story out of England impacts your benefits, and I'll explain to you why in a second. What is the story? Citibank is now reporting that British citizens could have a whopping 18% inflation in January. In fact, the consumer price index for England is expected now to come in at 18%, and also the retail sales to surge to 21%. Excuse me? How does the United States, with Jay Powell and co. at the Federal Reserve, get to 2% inflation by December if England by January is going the other direction at 18%? Boy, folks, this is a shocker. And the bond markets reacted to the news. The 10-year Treasury note is up dramatically today, 2.996 at 8% at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the 30-year Treasury bond up as well. Could there be a differences of the British economy and ours by the end of the year? Generally not, because we're very symbiotic relationships. But here's one of the parts of the equation. England's being really dramatically hit, and certainly Europe, by those energy shortages there that we don't have here, especially natural gas. So there is a likelihood that the British citizens could be suffering inflation higher while our inflation's going lower. But to get to inflation by 2% later this year, says the Federal Reserve, while England's going the other direction, that's why you want to see on this channel for Friday. What's happening on Friday? The federal chairman himself, Jay Powell, will be speaking not at an FOMC meeting, but actually at a major conference. It's called Jackson Hole. And on Jackson Hole conference on Friday, the head of the Federal Reserve was speaking about your economy. What is he likely to say, and why is this important news across the board? He's going to be speaking about, of course, inflation. What am I projecting Jay Powell to say at that Friday Jackson Hole conference? We're going to stay with inflationary interest rate spikes until we get inflation down to our target rate of 2%. Of course he's going to say that. That's an easy one. He's also likely to say we're going to have similar interest rate spikes to what we've done before until we get inflation down to our target of 2%. How do we know that? Because Bowman, Daly, and Bauman, those Fed governors, have said it over the last few weeks. Now, what is Wall Street doing this morning for August 22nd, 2022? They're biting their fingernails off. They're biting their fingernails off. Why? Because they're very nervous about Friday. Why are they nervous? And we already know what Jay Powell's going to say, because Wall Street's been trying to say that Jay Powell will say something different. Wall Street for nearly 2 weeks has been saying the Federal Reserve is going to do 50 basis points in September. Not going to happen. It's going to be 75. And that will be the final interest rate spike. And then the Federal Reserve will then pivot and stop interest rate spiking. No. Not going to happen. Sort of like, I'm not going to have bacon on set. Why does Wall Street do that? And that is why the Federal Reserve and that Fed watch is heating up today. With Jay Powell slated to speak on Friday at the Jackson Hole conference, I'll have his comments across the board. Not a really surprise for you what he's going to say, but Wall Street is really shocked because remember, they've not embedded the risk of more interest rate spikes into the markets. Macy's and Nordstrom will report corporate earnings tomorrow, Tuesday. Salesforce and NVIDIA is on Wednesday, and Peloton's on Thursday. Well, did we get some corporate earnings today? Yes, we did. We're at the tail end of the second quarter corporate earnings, and there were some misses, but there are also some beats. If you miss what happened last week, it was really surprising when you consider the culmination of those markets. What happened? Target missed, Walmart beat, Tapestry beat, Estee Lauder missed, BJ's missed. Beat. Really surprising across the board. Target had guided down for the month of July, then guided down in June, and also guided down in May. And then when they reported corporate earnings last week, they missed on downward guidance across the board. Walmart, relatively strong on a beat. Estee Lauder, major miss. And then Tapestry, that owns Coach and Kate Spade, great brands, beat. Really a very bifurcated market where some companies are beating and some are missing. So what are we getting this morning for August 22nd? Signify Health is up dramatically, up 38% at the time of this broadcast, with the rumors it's up for sale to either Amazon or United Health with a bidding war underway. Bed Bath & Beyond is beyond as it's taking another bath today. Bed Bath & Beyond is down another 10% today as investor Ryan Cohen sold his shares on Friday. I just butchered that one. AMC plummeting 31% right to now as it launched a new app, Ape. Do you pronounce it Ape or app? APE. I think you pronounce it Ape. Equity units. Ford. Wow. Did you hear the Kevin Spacey verdict that came in last week? Did you hear that? Well, you may have heard that one, but you missed the Ford verdict. Ford got assessed a $1.57 billion verdict on Friday, and the stock is down 3% today. Occidental Petroleum has now approved Warren Buffett to buy another 50%, to buy up to 50% of the company. And Netflix is down for 3% on a CRFA downgrade to hold across the board. Wow. Let's jump back over to that news out of England, because this is really interesting. If inflation is tracking higher in England, is there a likelihood that inflation will track higher here? And why is this raising your benefits at issue across the board? Well, the issue is that if that inflation is tracking a different direction, then your benefits are going up a lot. Let's go over the equation starting right now. Your benefits are going up the largest of a generation, based upon inflation that is so super hot in the United States. And ultimately, if inflation stays hot for 2 more months, your benefits are going up a lot. We're going to go over the inflation part of the analysis first, then we'll go over the calculation, and then we'll go over what to see across the board. This, my friends, is lifetime stimulus. This is lifetime stimulus, because as your benefits go up, they never go down. So let's say inflation brings your benefits up 12% this year. Your benefits will never go down. They'll always be 12% higher a lifetime. And if inflation next year is 2%, they'll get a 2% raise on top of 12%. This is incredible news. So now let's go back to the inflation part of the equation. What happened? And what are we watching for? And where is it heading? Well, in the month of July, we got the inflationary data for the month of June. CPI beat on July 13th, PPI beat on July 14th, and retail sales beat, tracking higher. So what do we understand going into last week? That the CPI was still going higher. And as the CPI goes higher, your benefits go higher. What happened? In the month of May, the CPI came in dramatically high. And how hot was it? 8.6%. Then the month of June went even higher, 9.1%. This is huge for your benefits, because if inflation stays as hot as that, your benefits going up. After that 9.1% in the month of June, we knew our benefits going up, and we were waiting for that CPI in the month of August. And it was released last week, August 10th. That CPI released last August 10th, which is July data, came in a little bit hot, a little bit less on the high end, the summary number, 8.5%. But when you look at the component parts, they were up month to month. The salaries, higher. The rent, higher. The milk and eggs, higher. So then why was the headline number lower? Because gasoline went down in the month of July. Well, this is big for your benefits. So we understood that your benefits are going to stay really great news if that CPI stays where it is. It goes higher. In the month of July, released last week, it did. And the month of August or September. And what should we know across the board? If inflation stays where it is, it goes higher, your benefits are going up a lot. So let's go over your benefits, and then we'll go over back to the calculation of how much right after that. Your benefits are going up automatically, direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Yes, this is a lifetime stimulus. And it's dependent upon those 3 months of data. The July, the August, and September. How much? About $5,000 for some of you more, some of you less. Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. And the same percentage raise across the board. So now let's go over the calculation on how this works. Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, cost of living adjustment, and it determines how much your benefits go up. But it's determined by three other numbers. The CPI-W released last week for the month of July, the CPI released on September 10th for the month of August, and the one for October released on October for the month of September. Now, what are we looking at? Well, if you believe that the salaries are still the same or going higher, the rent is still the same or going higher, the milk is still the same and going higher, then that CPI is likely to stay the same or go higher, even if gasoline tracks down. But currently, gasoline's tracking higher. Why? Gasoline was at full capacity last month, but it's not going to stay at full capacity. Refineries go offline September and October when hurricanes and natural disasters hit. And then the demand is cooling off. If you remember this channel, you're looking at that gasoline at the line to the membership newsletter. And the international price of Brent crude has tracked higher in the last few days, from a 92 up to a 98. Yeah, there you go. So ultimately, if you're in the supermarket, If you're at the employer, if you're at the landlord, if you're at the gas station, and you see these numbers about the same or higher, that's great news. You don't have to wait for the CPI next month. Now, the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index is going to be released in a few days, and the housing data is great indication for inflation. Ultimately, this is a massive raise of your benefits. But how much? The Seniors League, when looking at the data last week, that 8.5% raise of inflation, said that would amount to about a 10.1% raise of your benefits. 10.1% raise based upon a CPI last week of 8.5. And they're basically saying if it stays the same for the next 2 months, then that's what you would get. Do I agree? I think it's a little conservative. I think it's a little bit conservative because I see that the rent, the salaries, the milk and eggs, consumer staples are all going higher. I don't see them going down, and I see gasoline going higher across the board, about the same. So I think that it really is conservative. We'll be tracking more inflationary data on this channel over the next few days to understand whether inflation has cooled or is about the same, and that's what's important to know. Wow, so much heating up on this channel, and in the big second half, we'll be going over the latest details on your money. We'll be going over those 7 new categories of stimulus checks, those 3 stimulus checks categories, and we'll be going over the incredible news of the launch of LA2 and LA3. But let's jump back to that Jackson Hole for just a second because this is really important. If the Federal Reserve has that Jackson Hole conference on Friday, why is Wall Street so nail-biter about it? Why is Wall Street so nail-biter about it? Because Wall Street's been running on this narrative that ultimately the Federal Reserve is going to pivot and stop interest rate spikes. How? Why do we know that? Federal Reserve's actually said they're not going to do that. Federal Reserve says they're going to continue to spike until they get to 2% inflation. And we're not at 2% inflation. We're at 8.5%. Number 2, Federal Reserve has said they'll stay with similar situated interest rate spikes than what they've had. Well, they did 75 basis point in July. They did 75 basis point in June. Who says they're going to do 50 basis point? Wall Street equity traders. Bowman, Daly, and Bauman don't say that. So this is really important for you even if you do not own stocks, because guess what? Those risks are not embedded in the market, and these people are waiting for a Friday conference and hoping they hear something that, guess what? They're not going to be hearing. What are you going to be hearing? You're going to be hearing lots of stimulus. And in the big second half, we'll be going over those lifetime stimulus checks, plus those 7 new categories of stimulus checks. And we'll be looking at the excitement that launched last night, the launch of LA2 and the launch of LA3. In the big second half, we're going to go over all these incredible stimulus checks, 10 categories of checks, upwards of 200 stimulus checks, and everything you need to know to get them. Go on to this video, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Parrot, Casino VIP, and stay the big second half as we go over these incredible checks and everything you need to know. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, we're just getting started. As the toast is toasting and the butter is buttering, I'll see you back in 60 seconds as Mornings LA continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues in a big second half, August 22nd, 2022, from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Welcome to Dustin, who became a member during the commercial break, and welcome to all the new members who joined this family over the weekend. If you haven't become a member, go around this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. You want to get these big stimulus checks, you deserve them. Single individual, 75,000 less, and more. We're going to go over all these incredible checks. Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, and Casino VIP. And with that, let's go over these 10 categories of stimulus checks starting right now. How are you? I hope you're having a beautiful day. And boy, we have a great second half. Lots of checks, lots of excitement. Of course, the 2 new channels join this family. Back in the month of March, the President of the United States signed into law an incredible executive orders that establish Check A, B, and C. Those are the first 3 stimulus checks. It's about $100,000 and you qualify. Then, 2 weekends ago, Congress passed the 7 new categories of stimulus checks. Across these 10 categories of stimulus checks, there's nearly 100 to 200 checks to go get. How do you get them? You become a member. Then get that membership newsletter and go into those incredible checks. And the President's Energy Secretary spoke yesterday about the 7 categories of checks. They're incredible. Remember, these are federal stimulus. They're from the federal government. So they're not coming from your state. You qualify. These incredible stimulus checks, let's look at them right now. Done by the President of the United States by executive action. It's huge. It's about $100,000. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. And if you rent, if you own, if you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits, go get these incredible checks. They are about $100,000 for stimulus done by executive action from Joseph Biden. It's federal stimulus, hence it's in every U.S. state. The series of these checks, A to C, amount to about $100,000. And we're going to go over each of these incredible checks starting right now. Done by executive action, you qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, you qualify. How to get them? You become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, and Casino VIP. The first of these checks I label as Check A. Check A is a $6,500 to $12,000 for stimulus check in every U.S. state. $6,500 to $12,000. It's the weatherizing grant check. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. How do you get it? Step 1, become a member. Go under this video, join the channel. Then get that incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go down to Check A in the membership newsletter, click the link, it sends you into the nationwide website, and then go get that category of Check A checks. You're not done there. Oh, and Spelly got this wonderful check 2 weeks ago. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get Check B. Check B is $15,000 to $80,000. It is huge. It is absolutely huge. And it is the check the viewer out of Florida got. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. How do you get it? Step 1, go into the video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Go down the membership newsletter, you find Check B, and there you go. Go get that incredible Check B. Look at that. Between Check B of $80,000 and Check A of $12,000, that's $100,000 right there. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get Check C. This is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And Check C is a lot of checks. Check C is a lot of checks. And we're going to go over all these incredible checks in just a second. How do you get that Check C? Become a member. Go to the membership newsletter where it goes over Check C. Tells you what city, where to call, who to speak to, and what to say. And those incredible checks of Check C are what one viewer got massive sums of money, over $150,000. You're not done there yet. You're going to also go get Checks E to K. Wow, Checks E to K. Now, Checks E to K became a law by Congress 2 Sundays ago. Check E to K are in the membership newsletter. So in the membership newsletter, you have A, B, and C right after each other. Then after that, you have E to K. Check E is $7,500. Check F is $4,000. Check G is 30%. Check H is $2,000. Check I and check J are $8,000. And check K is $14,000. If you're on Twitter last night, I retweeted a video from your energy secretary who appeared on broadcast news earlier Sunday. And what did she say? She said that we passed this incredible act of Congress, and in there is lots of checks for us to pay for certain things. If you want this, I'll pay for it. If you want this, I'll pay for it, is what she said over and over again. That was the quote. You want this paid for? We'll pay for it. You want this paid for? We'll pay for it. For generally low income or sometimes middle class. It's incredible. And that was basically her talking about check E to K. It's huge. Go into this video, become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, and get these incredible checks. You want to look at the success stories of Check C. Wow, we've been getting people $15 million of channel since it launched in March of 2020. And let's look at some of those success stories for Check C. They're huge because viewers have been getting them on this channel for a very long time. These incredible stories for success Check C are huge. And what do you want to know? You want to know how to get them as well. Well, it all starts with the rent. The rent has been huge success stories left and right. From Nisi to Lorraine and Margaret and Johnny, let's look at those rent success stories. Here you go. Nisi to Elizabeth, you want $30,000 for rent? Go get check C. Do you want this for utilities? Go get check C. Look at that. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. And then that same brother-in-law's got $250,000 over 10 years. You want a combination of checks? Well, go get it. For rent and other items across the board. Nisi went from $23,000 to $50,000. Mark went from $32,000 to $166,000. Here's Mark with the graphic of $32,000. Then he went to this graphic. Then he went to $100,000, and then he got $166 because he got check B. Here's Lorraine, and she went from $105 to $155. Check C is just absolutely incredible. Now, here's what you need to know. Check A, the weatherizing grant, is really one check, but check B is 80 to 100 checks. Check C is 80 to 100 checks. But for example, for check C, let's say you have rent and 4 utilities. That's 5 checks per month. The average view of this channel is now getting, for check C, 14 months of it. 14 months times 5 checks a month, yeah, that's about 80 to 100 checks. And then how many places you have to reach out to? About 12. So we have about 12 places to reach out to, get about 100 checks. You have a lot of possibilities across the board. And then when you go to E through K, 7 more categories on top of that. You got a lot of checks to get on this channel. Become a member. What do you need to do? First, go on to this video, subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. It's LALATE. And now, the broadcasting family of LA now features 3 channels. We'll go over the brand new LA2 and LA3 that launched last night later in this recording. Number 2, go under this video and join the channel. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. So you get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday. Go down the membership newsletter, get A, B, C, E through K. That's how you do it. Number 3, go to the Finish channel. Make sure you have all notifications set to all on. There's a little bell. Make sure you have it set to all notifications on. One of the benefits of being a member is the membership newsletter, which also features in there the worksheets. The worksheets are in the membership newsletter around the 3rd line. And here are the incredible worksheets. The worksheets are a series of PDFs you can print out. And what do we learn today about these worksheets? First, inflation. Well, inflation is tracking higher in England. Of course, the Citibank. Will inflation track higher here as well? So far, the component parts are tracking higher. We'll have more about this tonight on the 3 o'clock afternoons. Recession. Well, housing recession is definitely underway. We featured all that last weekend. Very, very pronounced. Very pronounced. But what about an economic recession for the full extent of the economy? Yes. Yesterday, one of the Biden administration's economic czars appeared on broadcast media and said there is no recession. And what did he do? He basically used the great data but ignored the bad data. Well, that's not really fair. If you ignore bad data and just talk about good data, you can make a lot of things look really good. Well, it's half a story. Labor, Department of Labor's new jobless claims were released this Thursday, and they dropped last week. Dropped from 260,000 new jobless claims to 250. First drop in several months as we track higher from 140 to 260, but it's still the second highest number of the year. And then the Federal Reserve, the last item on the first page of the worksheets, the CHAPAL conference this Friday at Jackson Hole. Everyone's nail-biting. Why? You already know what he's going to do unless you're predicting against what he said he's going to do. 75 basis points. The rest this year, every month, is what I'm projecting. Let's see if that comes out across the board. The next page of the worksheet is the one that's been a big success story. Last night on the live show on this channel, one person jumped in there and said, you helped me get my weatherizing check for a lot of items. So congratulations to that viewer. I didn't write the name down. It was great news. The viewer got a version of Check A, weatherizing, for a lot of items. Why is this table very important? Let's recap. Check A is really one category, but really one check, weatherizing. Check B is 80 to 100 checks. We're going to see that in a second. Check C is 80 to 100 checks because the average view of the channel is getting 14 months of these items. Last weekend, we had that success story, but last week we had one viewer who got 14 months of rent, another viewer who also got 14 months of rent, another viewer got 12 months of utilities. So you see the narrative is the average payout right now is about 14 months. Viewers are really doing really, really well. Then we had Spelling who got Check A and Check C. Then that one viewer out of Florida, she got 80 checks. She had filled out this page, but forgot she had filled it out. And the state of Florida contacted her and said, ma'am, you've been approved for Check B, mortgage assistance. Great news. It gets better. She got 18 months of mortgage assistance. Oh my goodness, that's tens of thousands of dollars. It gets better than that. She got mortgage and her utilities approved for 18 months. Well, if she has 4 utilities plus mortgage, that's 5 times 18. That's 80 to 100 checks right there, my friends. It's not a unique story. It's happening all the time. What I'm telling viewers now with the worksheets is print out this page, which is page 2, multiple copies. When I made it, I just put about 20 rows on there because at the time we had less checks. Now we have Check A, 80 plus checks for Check B, 80 plus checks for Check C, and then you have 7 new categories of check, E to F, E to K. That's a lot of checks to keep track of. You're going to be applying for 100 to 200 checks on this channel. Yeah, it's all new. It's all what membership is doing. And that's why you want to print out this page in multiple copies because it really only has like 20 rows on there. You got to keep track of all these checks that you're applying for. The next page is the benefit raises. Well, if you believe the Seniors League gets 10.1% raise, then you do 1.10 times your current check. If you believe your benefits are going to go higher because inflation is not going down, then you could run those numbers on this page. The next page is gasoline. On Evenings Alley, we'll go over why gasoline is likely tracking higher. And then the last page is student loan debt forgiveness. I broke the news story on this channel several months ago, and I broke the news story last week, which was the following. First, the president for several months has already decided what he's going to do. He's just not announcing it. And the announcement is also not coming this August. I broke the news last week. Insiders believe the president is not going to do student loan debt forgiveness this August. He's going to roll it over, meaning you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pay anything, so you're fine. And the determination, the announcement will come this fall. And what will that be? What he's always wanted to do. $10,000 for $10,000 for individuals who make $150,000 or less. Remember, if you currently have debt due, it's not repaid. It doesn't have to be repaid across the board. Incredible news, left and right. Finally, some commentary before we go into the brand new news that hit on this channel overnight. The commentary is you. You're doing such a great job. I mean, you really are. The viewers of this channel are really taking it and running with it on stimulus. It was just months ago where viewers are getting 3 months, 4 months. And I said, do as big as bold as you could do. Now the average viewer of this channel is getting 14 months. 14 months of rent, 14 months of utilities, 14 months of mortgage. It's just great. It's a testament to you. You're doing an incredible job. Number 2, the comments by the Energy Secretary yesterday on Broadcast News were just great. Great. She basically said, Congress passed this bill, And this is what she said: if you want your this paid for, we'll pay for it. If you want this paid for, we'll pay for it. If you want this paid for, we'll pay for it. Jump on the LATE, the twitter.com/LATE Twitter account, and you'll see that video. I'll retweet it today. It's a great comment. She basically says, you want this paid for, I'll pay for it. If you want this paid for, I'll pay for it. You've done really well. You know, it's hard to navigate through all this, especially with so much wrong clutter out there. USA Today has run a fact-checking article. It's wrong. You got to fact-check USA Today because USA Today, hi, how are you? Your article's wrong. The article says there's no forced stimulus check. Well, if you define a forced stimulus check in the universe of the newsroom of USA Today as perhaps a $600 check that lands by direct deposit in the mailbox while you're holding a donut and you don't have to do anything, then yeah, donut checks are not landing in anyone's mailboxes anytime soon. But if you define a stimulus check as what the Energy Secretary said yesterday in broadcast media, we'll pay for this, we'll pay for this, we'll pay for that, we'll pay for that, that's a check and it's stimulus and it's fourth. So I don't know how USA gets away with running nonsense articles like that. You've got to retract the article, USA Today, because it's wrong. And I know it's very confusing. Yesterday, when this channel launched, LA2 and LA3, I posted on Instagram the trailers of the two new channels. And one person jumped into the LALATE 2 trailer and said, I think, yeah, she was Oklahoma. She said, there's nothing in Oklahoma. I said, yeah, there is. I don't know about Oklahoma sending out stimulus from the states, but the states never sent out stimulus of magnitudes. It was always the federal government. Remember, you know, all these stimulus checks, first, second, third, it was the federal government. Nancy Pelosi's not in the state legislature. She's in the federal government. Steve Mnuchin was not in New York State's legislature. He's the federal government. He was a Treasury Secretary. Federal government sent out stimulus. And I said, there's a lot of money in Oklahoma. I've been getting people this year lots of money in Oklahoma. And if you watch LA2 and you watch LA1, you'll learn about the stimulus. Please watch the shows. She said, well, thank you so much. I will watch. I forgot to refocus on the federal level. That same Instagram post, someone jumped in there and said, there's nothing in Texas. Well, yeah, there is. If you're looking for your governor, is it Wolf? I think it's Wolf. If you're looking for your governor to be sending you a Texas check, then don't look that way, because Texas was never the payor of checks when we did first or second. It was the federal government. The federal government sends out the stimulus. And my Texas residents have been getting massive stimulus all year long from the federal government. So I know it's really hard because there is a lot of clutter out there to decipher and navigate through it. And you've done such a great job. You've really laser focused. You've understood what this economy is and what this recession is, what this inflation is and what this housing market is, what the CPI is and what this PPI is. You've been able to dissect from the weatherizing grant to the rent money, from the 7 new stimulus checks to the first 3 checks. You've done such an incredible job. I'm so proud of you. I really, really, really am. If you missed it yesterday, then let me tell you what happened. Yesterday, this broadcasting family of LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, added 2 new channels to this broadcasting network. This broadcasting network now comprises 3 channels. On LALATE 2 is your stimulus. On LA3 is your markets, Wall Street. On LA2 is your humor, coming soon. And on LA3 is your delicious food, coming soon as well. 2 new channels joined this broadcasting family last night. LA2, which you can go to at youtube.com/LA2, pretty simple. And LA3, which you can go to at youtube.com/LA3, the number 3, pretty simple. You want to jump over and subscribe. Right while you're watching this show on LALATE 2 is airing, let me keep track of it. A lot to remember. On LA3 is running Wall Street Live. Wall Street Live runs throughout the days on LALATE 3, and it features everything about Wall Street, your money, your stimulus, your Wall Street, your economy, your inflation, your recession, your housing market, and your benefits, everything you need to know. That's on LALATE 3 live during the daytime. It's called Wall Street Live, and it's on LALATE 3. On LALATE 2, the hit show already, because people were jumping into it last night, and Wall Street Live did really well as well, is Stimulus Live. Stimulus Live airs on LALATE 2 in the evenings and into the overnights. So LALATE 2 features LALATE 2 features Stimulus Live, and LALATE 3 features Wall Street Live. I want to thank everyone who jumped into those streams last night. It was really, really quite wonderful. I saw Barbara. I saw Gail. I want to thank the first new member who joined those 2 new channels, and his name is Kiwanis. Kiwanis joined LALATE 2 last night. Finally, if you wondered, yes, LALATE 2 and LALATE 3 will have memberships. If you become a member to LALATE 2 and LALATE 3, you also get the membership newsletter delivered to you via your LALATE 2 or LALATE 3 membership account as well. So much happening across the board. And so if you're watching the show when it airs live, originally at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, jump over to LALATE 2 right after the show airs, because you have about an hour and a half until home. LALATE airs on this channel at 11 a.m. This video will automatically take you to home LALATE, but you got about another hour before it airs, so jump over to LALATE 2. It's the, I just butchered that. Jump over to LALATE 3, which is currently airing Wall Street Live. And you want to see it? Here again is LALATE 2 and LALATE 3 that launched overnight. I'll first show you LALATE 3 that's currently airing Wall Street Live on its channel right now, and then tonight is Stimulus Live again. Be informed, be focused, and stay with LALATE for more.